Hello everyone, my name is Carrie Herzog and I am going to start a vlog. I've had several friends tell me you ought to blog, and then others said you ought to vlog, and so I decided, you know what, it's much quicker to talk than it is to type. So I am going to just vlog about random things, and I don't know, maybe some of you will want to listen. I love to tell stories, and maybe they'll just bring a smile to your face. I don't really know what to call this. Vlogging with Carrie? I don't think so. You could do something like live with Carrie. It's always kind of funny, as opposed to what, dead with Carrie? I don't know. But unlike Kelly or Kathy Lee or Kelly Lee, I don't have a co-host. So it is just me. So I don't know what I'm going to call it. Just me, I guess. And I just am going to tell stories and talk about life and faith and just stuff being a mom. So, my first installment is I'm going to tell you about our little mishap the other night with our hamster. We have a hamster, or my daughter, Kendra, has a hamster. And let me just tell you, she loves this thing. And I have to admit, he's darling. In fact, I could show him to you, but he's sleeping. I'll have to show you him a different time. He's right over there. But anyway, the other night she put him in his ball to run around our living room. And oh, by the way, I don't always look like this. In fact, I don't normally look like this. This morning my husband looked at me and he's like, "What's going on? Where are you going?" Yeah, I'm normally in sweats, but I'm actually going to go meet a friend for lunch. This is actually the friend that told me to vlog. So I'm going to go meet her for lunch, and that's why I look like this. So just don't be expecting this every time. Anyway, I am going to just tell you about this little hamster. So anyway, he was running around. His name is Goliath, by the way. He's super tiny, and his name's Goliath. And so he was running around the living room, and Kendra went outside to get in the hot tub with Chet. And so they were out there, and she told me, if he looks like he's getting tired and wants to go back in his cage, just go ahead and put him in. So after a while, Goliath is just, running into the wall with his little ball. So I thought, okay, he wants to go back in. So I come over, I let him into his cage. Now, he has a cage, and then they have this thing where Chet calls it the prison yard, that like hooks onto the outside. It's like wire caging. And we have it set up with little things he can run on and stuff. And because I had read somewhere that if they just have this little cage all the time, they get bored and just get lethargic. And it sounds like my house. Maybe I get bored. Maybe I need a prison yard. But anyway, that's for another day. Anyway, so I put him in there and went back to doing whatever I was doing. Well, Kendra came in later, and she went over to check on him, and she said, "Where's Goliath?" And I said, "What do you mean, where's Goliath?" I came over, and I had let him out into the yard, and she had taken him out of the cage, so the door was open. So my heart is going like 100 miles an hour, and I'm like, "Oh, dear Jesus, please, please, please let him be in there." And I'm all, "Galalai." That's what Kendra calls him. So I'm frantically going through all the fluff that smells like pee. I'm like, "Galalai," and Kendra just, you can see her face. Kendra's 12, by the way, and she loves this thing. Her face starts crumbling up, and I'm thinking, "Oh, no, 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 no." And he was gone. I mean, not in there. She starts sobbing. And of course, I feel horrid. Our house is, I mean, it's not huge, but it's not small by any stretch of the imagination. And so I'm thinking, oh, this little thing could be anywhere. I mean, literally anywhere. So we are looking all over. We're looking along, every edge that we can. We're upturning couches. We're looking. We spend, I don't even know how long we spend looking and calling. And I just look at my husband. I'm like, we're never going to find him. I mean, he's this big. And, so she's sobbing, and then I start to cry because I feel horrible. There was a guinea pig incident in my earlier life, which I'll save for another day. But I'm thinking, oh, I just don't have good luck with rodents. And so anyway, unbeknownst to me, my husband is in on the computer Googling how to find your hamster. And I am out here, looking, trying to console Kendra. She comes over, hugs me, tells me, "Don't worry, Mom, it's okay," as she's sobbing. And so we keep looking, and she comes over to me. She's like, "Mom, I have this peace." She's like, "God just told me that He loves me. I'm His daughter, and He's going to take care of Goliath, and we're going to find him." And I'm thinking, well, good for you, sweetie. I didn't hear that from God. And so I didn't say that out loud, but I'm like, trying to just keep it together. So Chet comes in and he's like, "Okay, here's what we need to do." They say that we need to take plates and count out 10, what do they eat? The sunflower seeds. Put 10 on each plate and put one in each room. Because then in the morning, when you wake up, you check the plates, and if some of the sunflower seeds are gone, then you know that Goliath has been in that room. And then you can narrow it down. But I'm thinking, well, he could live forever on that. He could come out, eat a couple little seeds, go back to wherever he's hiding, and we'll never find him. But I mean, it was a start. And then he said, well, we could set up some kind of trap with peanut butter. And I'm thinking, I don't even know how to do that. And they said, well, take the cage, put it down on the floor, so if he gets hungry and he wants to come back in at night. And so we're doing all these things. So my little 10-year-old dude is counting out sunflower seeds to put in all the rooms, and Chet goes to get our oldest daughter. We have 3 children, and so he went to go get her, and as he's leaving, he's like, and they like to hide in dark places. He's like this closet here as you go out our front entryway, and he's like, look in there. And I said, well, I kind of opened it, but I can't reach the light. So Chet turned on the light, and he leaves. And so Kendra opens up the closet, and they're going to start pulling stuff out. I go downstairs to get something, and I hear this sound. I cannot even explain to you the sound. It was Kendra, and she was just like, and I think, oh my gosh, she's found him, and he's dead. Something has fallen on him, and she's found him dead. I mean, she's hysterical. I come running up the stairs, and she's standing there, holding this little thing, going, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, I cannot believe it. I hug her. She's like, we found his Goliath. And I cry. I run out and catch Chet. I'm like, he was in the closet. We're just crying. Well, apparently, she was pulling things out. It's just like every closet, in the entryway, shoved full of stuff. She pulls everything out, and she leans in, and there's this, one of the things, and there was this little step stool in the back. And apparently she leaned in, and she's all, "Galalai." And he peeks his little head out because he heard her call his name. That sweet little animal heard her. And, as we put him back in his cage, and we were just mentally exhausted at this point, I thought that's just like the verse in the Bible where it says that his sheep know his name. And it was just the coolest thing to not only know that God loved Kendra so much. Not that, he loves us all, and we're not always going to find our hamster on the first night. But in that moment, he just spoke to her, and she knew he was going to be okay, and she believed him. And when she poked her head in there and called out his name, and he poked his head out because he heard her and he knew her voice, it was just one of the sweetest things. And so isn't it just like God to use the things in our everyday life to teach us a spiritual principle? That when we feel lost, when we are lost, God will call, and we will know his voice because we love him, and because we'll know his name and we'll know his voice. And so that's my first story for my official vlog, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I don't know when I'll get back on here, but when I do, I hope you'll join me. Thanks. Now I gotta figure out how to turn this off.